From two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners, I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
And we'll be giving you guys the insider secrets to take your trade business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast. All right, guys, so today we're joined here by Gunther, one of the partners of Modern Media Group, and actually our producer. What would you call yourself, Gunther?
Yeah, we're producing the podcast for these two guys, and it's interesting to be on the other side of the camera, but always a pleasure. So.
Gunther and the Modern Media Group, they specialize in social media content, and then in today's episode, we'll be discussing how to create social media content, not only for contractors, but for any brand, any business you're out there. Since these guys are the experts, you guys work with some pretty big brands, right?
Yeah. We've done TV productions for different cities. We've done commercial stuff for Porsche. But primarily, like, our main service is social media production and social media management. So just like you guys, you have that really good understanding of social media advertising. We come from 60% understanding of content and then like 40% in like the marketing and like ad space.
Guys, okay, like tell us your backstory. We never really talked about how you guys got started. You're pretty young too. You're 23 years old, right?
Yeah. I was actually the third partner to join the group, but Lindsay, the original partner, she started Modern Media Group about 4 years ago now. We're based in Tampa, Florida. So she was going around to different restaurants and she wanted to do social media management. And she had a little bit of a background in marketing. And she basically eventually landed some really cool restaurants in Tampa, built a portfolio, and was able to continue to acquire some clients. A couple months after she started, she met Cabri, my other business partner. He's more the sales, business development kind of mindset. Then a couple months after that, they met me, and I have the background in film and in social media production as well.
When did you guys start the business?
The business was started in 2019 in March. So coming up this March will actually be 5 years. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. So three partners, and then there's two different businesses, right? There's the Modern Media Group, and then there's the studio side. So are those completely two different businesses?
Yes, they are two different entities. Lindsay and Cabri, they oversee the marketing agency. And then the studio that we're sitting in right now is MMG Studios, which stands for Modern Media Group Studios. And the backstory behind MMG Studios is we grew the marketing agency to have a team that was so big that we really needed an office space. So rather than just go and buy an office space, we found out that there's not a really good studio in Tampa. So we were like, hey, if we're going to go renovate an office space and set it up to be like our own, the way that we want it, so that we can do the marketing agency work out of, why don't we just spend a little bit extra money, get a bigger space, build a studio, and then there's opportunities for a second business. So that's how MMG Studios came about. And now here we are. So
What's your background? What's your expertise? You said filmmaking. So run us a little before you joined the business. What were you doing before that? Did you go to school for film? Did you work freelance? What did you do before that?
yeah, when I was initially met Lindsay and Cabri, I was actually trying to start my own production agency. So I was going around doing all sorts of different film projects for real estate agents, for small businesses. And I ran into them doing one of my own projects. And then they asked me to hop on one of their projects. And then from there, we kind of, I just was talking to them a little bit. Hey, I think you guys could do this differently from the film background. And I went to film school as well. So, but I would say I went to YouTube University because
Learned everything from YouTube.
most higher education, I feel like, is so like outdated.
Which college did you go to?
University of Tampa.
University of Denver. Okay.
Sir.
Okay.
Was it hard to balance your school life and your business life? Or did you have to make some sacrifices?
I definitely did not graduate with a good GPA. But it was, when I was graduating school, it was like full-time school, full-time working. And we started to really have some momentum like my junior year of college. So at that point, it was very close to deciding between dropping out. But I was like, I had one more year left and already had spent so much money on school. So it was like, just want to try and finish it out.
And you guys kind of started 5 years ago. So that's when social media really started blowing up and heading towards the direction that you guys specialize in, short form podcasting? Did you guys start right away with that, or did you do other things like you said production? Tell us a little bit about the Porsche. What was that gig? Because we love Porsche, so
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love Porsche so much too. The engineering behind it is so cool. But you're so right. Like when we started, Instagram and social media as a whole was like so different. We were literally taking photos and like we didn't really do video work initially. And we were getting some accounts to like 10,000 followers organically by posting photos because Instagram at that time was all about high quality, nice looking photos. And then honestly, the reason why like to study film is because I kind of saw that that was the way that marketing was heading, that short form video was starting to become a really popular medium for businesses to present themselves. So I got really lucky with the timing of heading into a market that was like growing a lot. But to answer your question about Porsche, we Porsche Tampa host a bunch of events, and we go there. We do coverage for them. They did a partnership with the Motor Enclave, which is basically like a racetrack in Tampa. I know you guys have definitely heard
yeah,
of that.
shout out Brad Oholic.
That
He
he's
built the first one in Pontiac, Michigan, and we know him through our friend Steven, who's a big car guy up in Michigan. That's when we first met him. So they built M1 course up in Pontiac, Michigan. So they started the concept there. So that's how we know them.
that's crazy that they came from Michigan down to Tampa. Do they have other locations as well?
I think they have like Atlanta. They're building out other locations.
Yeah, Nashville too, I think.
Okay.
It's all Motor Enclave.
That yeah, I mean their business model is really cool. It's like the racetrack and then they have the
The condos,
condos.
yep.
So, but for that specific video between Porsche and Motor Enclave, um, they just hosted a really cool collaboration. There was like 75 really unique Porsche cars.
Got it. So since you started in business, let's say you've done at least 2,000, 3,000 clients, right? What's some of the most common mistakes that you see business owners making before they call you up? Hey, Gunther, I need to hire you to do my social media, to do my branding stuff. What's the most common mistake that they do before they call you without having the experts on their team?
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because the niche group of clients that we target are more of like the higher end brands. Like we work with like the Edition downtown, which is like the five-star hotel, Chichio Group, which is like Green Lemon. And these businesses are less like um, startup, they're more established. So they've almost all worked with previous marketing agencies before us. Um, but a lot of the issues that we see are not posting enough. Um, Not posting the right type of content and not really having a unison brand and having like diluted content. So, not having consistent themes on their content and not really like getting the brand voice across.
So like pretty much they just jump in it with no strategy, no game plan. They just like, oh, it's just social media. They don't give it the value that it deserves or like the attention that it deserves to have.
Yeah. And I think that's something across the board that small businesses struggle with as well is there really should be a strategy long term behind your social media, even if you're just like starting out. And that is the most important first step before you ever go and start trying to like record content is I don't want to waste time. What is the goal of this content? And then after figuring out your goal, figuring out how do I bridge the gap with my content to get to the conversions or brand awareness, whatever it is that you're looking for.
So, as an expert on the field, would you say having consistent, same patterns of content for your brand would be more, it would be better than just being all over the place? For example, let's say I started a business right now with 0 followers, and I have a painting business. Would you tell me to stick and just post my, let's say, my olive satisfying spraying videos and just stick with that and build out my brand on that? Or would you say like, oh, I can post olive satisfying videos, I can post educational videos about paint, I can post business videos, like how to be a better painter? Would you mix all together, or would you stick in one theme for every single profile or a brand that you're building out?
Yeah. And that's such a great question because you guys have blown up from the satisfying paint
Mm-hmm.
videos. And I think subliminally, if I'm a customer and I see how good of a job you guys are doing with your satisfying paint, I'm going to follow because when I'm scrolling in my feed, it's a nice break from the other content. Like I get to see these like nice edges being done and this beautiful wall being like fully filled in. But then the side effect of that is now I'm following you. And whenever I think of paint and having a paint job, I think of Olympian painting. So you guys have done a really good job of subliminally like getting in people's feeds because your videos are very satisfying. And to answer your question about just posting that specific type of content or also posting other content alongside of it, whatever you do, you should do consistently. So if you want to do the educational based content, which is also a form of value, so people, since you're providing value with them by educating them on the types of paints that they should use or how to not get screwed over by contractors, they'll follow you because like they're getting something from it. With that being said, whatever you choose, if you choose like the value based or the satisfying for your guys'
Showcasing
specific
your
network,
jobs. So you have to stick with one thing. You use advice as an expert.
advise, yes, but there are opportunities to do both at the same time. But whatever you do, you want to consistently do it from the start of your account. Because what happens is if I start with satisfying videos of me painting, and then one day I switch entirely to educational based stuff, the people who followed you because they liked watching how you were filling the lines on your paint on the walls, not to learn about the specific type of paint that they should use on their living room walls that doesn't chip.
Got it. Okay. I have a question that I get a lot of times from a lot of people that they use it as excuse. I don't know what to post. So like I'm gonna call it creative fatigue, which happens with
Mm,
us a lot of time too. Like we run out of ideas, or we get burnt out. We don't know what to post. What's one a good advice piece of advice I can give to people to come up with ideas, what to post, how to be more creative, how to create more engaging content for their audience?
yeah. And that's something we're always coming up with ideas with different clients. So you do hit like a creative fatigue. After thinking up so many ideas, like the creative part of our minds don't like to work. So, one thing that you can do, and this is something great too, if you're just starting out or if you're like doing a rebrand, is look at what the competition is doing in your space on their social media. And you can start to get an idea of what's worked for them. And from there, you can start to pull ideas. Okay, if they're a painting company and they're posting educational stuff about how to not get screwed over by a contractor, and then right after that, they're posting educational based content on what paint to use in their living room. And the latter video, the one of them talking about how to not get screwed over by a contractor, is performing better. Then if you're going for that same audience, you're offering that same service, then you'll probably find out if you post consistently over a long period of time that the first style of educational based content would work better, and they're more interested in figuring out how to not get screwed over by a painting contractor than this nitty gritty details of what brand of paint I should use like in my living room. So I think it's a super great idea to go look at what's out there in the market, and then from there you can pull so many different ideas, and your brand should be like its own thing and different
Yes.
from the other brand.
So what Gunther is saying, do not copy exactly what others are posting, but look what's working and come up with your own ideas or make them better or improve them or create your own kind of video or piece of content. Because I see a thing that we run all the time is because we created 2,000 pieces of content throughout the years. A lot of people will go and copy word for word everything that we're
Mm,
doing, which is not good, guys. I mean, get the idea, but make it your own. Make it your own kind of piece of content, information. Give it your own twist. Don't copy word for word other creators because you're gonna get called out. People will pick up on it 100%.
yeah. I love that because something that we want to do with each of our individual businesses that we start running with, if they don't have a brand kit or like brand identity, we want everyone to look different. Like if I'm a painting company, I don't, and I'm realizing that you guys are like, have blown up in the painting industry on social media. I don't want to start my painting company and have the same green and have a similar looking logo because then I don't want to try and steal your guys' recognition. I'll never be as big as you guys. I want to have a brand that's different, recognizable across all posts. And that's why like our brand is black, it's super clean. We always use the same fonts in all of our content because when you see us in an ad and when you see us organically in your feed, I want there to be brand recognition between those two channels. So yeah, you definitely don't want to steal colors or ideas. Exactly.
Or content or captions. I've seen people steal my captions. I'm like, or even they take
Even
my videos
videos.
and repost them.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
videos with our logo showing. I want to pick up on because you were talking about consistency. So if I'm a brand and I'm just starting out and I want to grow my social equity or my brand on Instagram, what's the content schedule that you recommend? When we started our Instagram, we were probably posting about 3 times a day. It worked then, but the algorithm is ever so changing. So right now in this current state, what would you recommend?
Yeah. And my answer is honestly just as much as you can, because the more content you're getting out there, the more opportunities you're going at bat to have something gain traction. Um, and whatever you do, the algorithm is like always changing. So, but it's not rocket science. If you want to grow a brand, you just have to post consistent, good content over a long period of time. And you can't really expect to see results in like 1 month, 3 months, hopefully in 6 months. But you really do want to hunker down for the long term and realize that it is a long term game. So I would just say as much as you possibly can, as much time as you can allocate to creating content, as much content as you can get out of that time that you're spending on creating content.
Yeah, so basically play the long game. Don't expect any instant gratification.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna emphasize on this. Okay, volume is good, but you gotta focus on creating valuable content as well. You can't just bet on volume and just post just to post and just put random things out there. You gotta make sure every post that you're making obviously gives value and is a valuable piece of content. Because if you just bet on volume and you're just posting 10 times a day and it's garbage, eventually, it's not gonna go anywhere. So I think volume is good, but as long as it's a valuable piece of content. What do you
totally,
think?
totally agree
Yeah.
completely.
Otherwise, you're gonna have people muting your posts.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
people
spamming them.
unfollowing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's because I've seen people just like post like 5 times a day and just like random stuff, like no caption, just like a picture of a cabinet door. I'm like, what's the point of this post?
yeah.
It has no structure, no point pretty much. It's you're not showing me anything.
Mhm.
How do you what? So okay, so we said long term. What do you think is a good time frame to build a good brand with social equity in any business? We'll stick with the contracting since that's what we specialize in. So a good time frame, like people who are watching that they just getting started on the social media game. What do you think it would be a good frame for them to start getting that compounding effect, building their brand, and getting that social equity, paying dividends?
I would say completely depends on like who your audience is and what what you're trying to accomplish. But you can make waves in a market in around like 6 months to a year organically. If you're coming in and blitzing the paid ads, you can get a lot more eyeballs on your content a lot quicker.
He stole my term, blitzing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because you call it blitzing a market.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's like a football blitz when everybody just like attacks. So yeah, blitz marketing. You just go in with a big ad spend budget, and then you just blast your ad. So the market immediately recognize that there's somebody new in here.
yeah. And I think you've seen such success with that because you have built great content and figured out organically what has worked out first in the market in Michigan, and then came down to a new market and already had that library of content that you could just push out and
Correct.
get money behind.
Yep, in
So,
Tampa, Sarasota, Miami, it was us. We saw results faster because again we had the marketing budget, so we didn't really go on the organic side.
yeah,
But the content helped tremendously because we're not just running ads on shitty posts. We're just running ads on good, valuable posts, and people saw the value immediately. So for us, was faster. That's a good scale kind of strategy for bigger companies that they have multiple locations. But if you're just starting out, I say, like you said, 6 to 12 months is a happy medium for your market and for your audience start recognizing that you exist.
yeah, completely agree.
What are some good ways to like track results on your social media performance, how your content is performing, besides money?
Yeah. So that's also a loaded question too, because I would say depending on what brand you are, a lot of people look at like followers and likes, but if I'm a local esthetician, then I don't necessarily need my content to get 100,000 views every single time because a lot of those views would probably not be coming from the local market. If I'm serving like a local market, then the most valuable views to me are people in the local market. Like, say I'm an esthetician in Tampa, the most valuable people to watch my content are
The
people in
locals.
Tampa. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm not getting a crazy amount of likes. I'm not getting a crazy amount of new followers." And they get like discouraged, but it really is dependent on like the quality of your followers and like can they purchase your service. But Instagram has great analytics tools. You can go to the insights tabs. TikToks has reports. YouTube Shorts also has reports. And it's also super important to cross post your content on the different platforms like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram. If I'm making one piece of content, it should go on all those different channels because I have so many friends and so many use cases where we've posted one thing on TikTok, it's gotten like a couple hundred views, and then for some reason on Instagram, it got like a couple thousand views.
Would
And
you repurpose that piece of content based on the platform, or would you post it the same way in every platform?
most content can be cross-posted and perform well on all of the different platforms. There's also the difference of like sounds are different on TikTok from like Instagram, but you can quickly change a song on TikTok so that you're getting that extra little boost compared to like Instagram. Um, but most of the time, like you don't really need to overthink it and spend way heinous amounts of time changing things between the different platforms. It's better to just get it out.
One tip I'm gonna give is because I say it all the time. I mean, Gunter is right. Just post in all platforms, but don't do the one thing that I see a lot of people doing. Like, let's say they post a TikTok and they'll save it from TikTok and they'll post on Instagram with a TikTok watermark, or
Yes.
the opposite way. Don't do that. Just post every piece of content on its own in each platform, because it kind of, I don't know. I think like I'm not sure if the algorithm punishes you, but it just doesn't look clean in my opinion. When you post a video and like you save it from your TikTok and you post it on Instagram, so don't
Yeah.
do that, guys.
And actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because Instagram's algorithm actually does hit your content if they see a TikTok watermark on it. It's intelligent enough to realize, hey, this was repurposed from TikTok. We're not going to promote it as much. So,
Exactly. So yeah, don't do that because I see a lot of people doing. They're just lazy. And like, you know what? I'm just gonna save it from TikTok. I already have a song on it. I'm just gonna post it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and in my opinion, doesn't look very clean.
yeah.
And like Gunther said, it actually punishes you.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm coming to you as advice as a business owner, brand new, and then I'm like, Gunter, I'm just starting on my Instagram page. How many times should I post? Or does the time of the day matters when I post as a new account? And then should I crank out a lot of volume in the beginning? Like for example, like the Dirty Painters podcast, it's a brand new page. We just started. We only have like 170 followers on it. What do you recommend on us on a brand new page? Like what kind of content plan, scheduling, and all that to post on it?
Yeah. So when we have a new company approach us, um, the I think that it would be valuable for a lot of the business owners who are listening. I'm guessing that a lot of them are not at the point where they can outsource their content
Yeah, like let's
creation yet.
say I cannot afford you. I don't have a
Yeah.
Gunter. I'm gonna be doing it on my own.
Totally. Yes. Don't have a gun there. Let's go.
Yes.
So, yeah. And that's how we start. Like we organically internally produce all of our content as well. So I can let you know what has worked for us in terms of our content systems, how we've been able to stay consistent over the years with posting and what has worked for our clients as well. But first thing is you want to, if you don't already have a brand kit, you should definitely create a brand kit. So visually, all the text that you're using on your content, all of the colors that you're using are
All the
unison.
visuals.
Exactly. So you can look up literally a quick YouTube video from people who are much more experienced with branding than I am on how to create a brand kit for your business. We can pop up ours at MMG Studios right now. And having a brand kit makes your content recognizable across any medium that people see it, whether it's like in the ad form or it's in the feed. And it literally took us like a day of just looking around, finding different fonts, getting the licensing from them, finding out what colors that we want. And you just put it on this brand kit so that whenever you bring on a social media manager or whenever you bring on someone to do content, you can say, here's our fonts, here's our logos, here's our colors. Let's like stick to that. So just from the get go, that will help create a visual aesthetic that is unique to you.
Mhm.
So that's just like a small step. And then in terms of the type of content that you're going to be posting, it's really valuable to create from the get go content pillars. So in general, we like to create like 3 to 5 content pillars with each of our clients. And what a content pillar is say it's the type of content that you're going to be posting consistently so people um, are receiving consistent types of content from your account. And that makes them more likely to follow along on your journey. If I'm a personal trainer, my 3 content pillars might be posting advice videos on nutrition, like here's 3 foods that you should eliminate from your diet, or here's the 3 best, cleanest protein supplements. And then the second content pillar after um, giving like nutritional advice might be workouts you can do at home. And then you can, as a personal trainer, set up your iPhone on a little tripod, rip some pull ups, and show like maybe a couple different variations. And then people can see like workouts that they can do at home. And the third thing that you might do might be like client showing off like hype videos of your client's training. And I'm sure that we've all seen like those motivational workout videos where there's just text on top saying like you can do
Oh,
this.
yeah, they don't even talk.
Exactly. And it's just motivational. But say those are your 3 content pillars. You want almost all of your content to fall under like one of those buckets. And what that does is after posting a long period of time, it keeps you from diluting your brand, and it teaches the algorithm because Instagram and TikTok want to know who to show your content to. And if you're constantly posting videos giving out nutritional value and then videos instructing people how to work out at home, it knows like, okay, these are the audience members who would like this type of content. So now, because you're consistently posting a certain type of content, you're getting much more direct results of getting eyes in front of people who actually want to see your content from Instagram.
How many times should I post every day on the Dirty Painters podcast?
So that once again is like as much as you
As
can.
much as I can? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting some advice now.
All right, 2 times a day. But
2 times a day? Okay.
I mean, just the more that you post, as long as you're, like you said, Carmelo, like not spamming people, the better. And as long as your content is high quality, like you are bound to get
As a
results.
starter, what kind of equipment would you recommend? Us, we just did it strictly with our iPhones. We never had any fancy cameras. Everything was just like, oh, we're painting a wall. Boom, my phone is out. Would you recommend getting any fancy equipment, any microphones, any lights, or you can get started, get the ball rolling if you don't have a big budget to invest in a production team or buying expensive equipment?
Totally. And I think the equipment depends on like exactly what type of content you're going to do. If you're doing a lot of talking content, like say I'm that personal trainer and I'm trying to give advice to people on what type of food they should eat, then I would invest in a microphone and a light. If I'm more on job sites and I'm showing off the beautiful like edging, then I wouldn't necessarily need to get a microphone. But you definitely can get very far with your iPhone and with some really inexpensive gear off Amazon. I can pop up some really inexpensive soft boxes right here, and soft boxes are what is going to light your face and make your content look a lot more professional. I can pop up some inexpensive microphones here that will easily connect to your iPhone port and just make you sound a lot easier to hear.
So
So
don't overthink it. Just you can do everything with your iPhone pretty much. You don't need an expensive production team. You don't need a lot of expensive equipment to get started, to get the ball rolling and start working on your branding.
100%, 100%.
All right. So we see here on one of our notes, we put down dedicate 1 month in creating marketing material. Can you emphasize a little bit on that? Like, what do you mean 1 month of marketing material? I'm assuming that's for a starter, somebody that's just starting out, right?
Totally. And this actually kind of follows after you have your brand kit, after you have your content pillars. Okay, it's time to start creating content. So, what we do and what we recommend other business owners do too, because you're busy, is to batch your content. And what batching content means is, okay, I'm not going to go and film 2 hours of content Monday morning, 2 hours of content Wednesday morning, 2 hours of content Friday morning. I'm going to dedicate one day a month where I'm going to be extremely organized and film 8 to 15 videos. So now I'm only spending one day of my time, because I'm a busy business owner, creating content, and I have my entire month's worth of content to be scheduled out and posted. And with that being said, it's super easy to batch content. Once you're in the zone and you're creative, you're like a lot more likely to just quickly hash out reels. So that's what I meant by having one dedicated day to do your marketing material. And you could even go further. You could do 3 days in a row to do your entire quarter or something like that. But it's really good idea to batch your content.
Okay, so you pretty much are more efficient and you only focus on creating content those 3 days versus every single day.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Do you come up with the captions and everything that same day and then you just schedule the pieces of content, or you just shoot the videos and you come up with the ideas later and you just take the video and then be like, okay, that would be a good caption for this video?
Totally. And we break it up into three different steps, and the captions come last. But first step is writing your video ideas. So before this shoot day ever comes up, you want to spend a bunch of different sessions, like 1 hour session here, 1 hour session there, writing the content. And the reason why you want to break up your writing and keep the shooting on one day is because our brains creatively cannot produce a bunch of good ideas in one sitting. You want to write down your different video ideas, whether it's like 8, 10, or 15, and you want to revisit them like at least once or twice and finalize them, because you will produce higher quality content. You'll get a different perspective when you come at it after a night of sleep, and you will just see much better results if you write your content and then spend a little bit time on on another day looking back at it. After you write the content, you have the ideas written down, then you have that day of shooting. After the day of shooting is when you are going to like edit and turn around the content. Um, and that's where you can start to build out your posting schedule. So just like how you have writing sessions and you have like a shooting day, you'll have like your posting schedule like
Okay.
day where you'll write the captions and post. Or you could fit it all into one day. But I would really recommend breaking up at least the writing into different sessions.
Got it. That's some really good advice because I've never been organized on that. And
Mm,
that's why I think one of the main reasons I get the creative fatigue, because I've been doing it every day. I'm like, okay, I come up with the idea every day. And then I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I'm like, I go on a hiatus and I'm like, screw it. I'm not posting for 2 weeks.
totally. Yeah. And when you're relying on doing your content every day, things come up and they distract us, and things happen. So,
Yeah. So being prepared, I think that would help a lot in any business to create the content.
yeah.
For that whole process, what do you think is the most important part? Would it be the creative thinking, or the editing, or thinking of the captions? What do you think, personally?
Yeah. I would say every single different part between the writing, shooting, and editing works together, and you shouldn't emphasize one more than the other, because like they're all like equally important. And if you don't spend your time on one of them and you skip a step on the process, then you will see in the final result that, hey, this wasn't
It
written
falls
that
apart.
well. It
Yeah.
wasn't edited that well. So yeah,
So it's like a chain reaction. All three pieces are important.
100%.
All right, Gunther. So we would like to hear some of the early struggles of starting this kind of business. Like us, we've never seen like especially like the membership kind of business that you have with the studio and all that. What are some of the early struggles that you had starting out with your partners? Was it hard to find clients? Was it hard to convince people to hire you guys? Because a lot of people, it's hard to convince. Like, hey, we bring a lot of value.
Mm.
Like us, we get tremendous value from hiring you guys because we save tons of hours,
Hmm.
and plus the quality of the content is more high quality. But a lot of business owners out there, they don't see that value just yet. So how do you convince those people to hire you? How do you get those first clients? Now you're pretty reputable. You've been established for 5 years, but in the beginning, what were some of the early struggles of the business?
So when we launched the studio, we had discounted prices because we wanted to over deliver over and over again for the first people who came and worked with us, so they would be good word of mouth um, representatives of what we were producing at the studio. And then with the marketing agency, we luckily landed clients like initially like out of the bat because we just had good relationships with them and we proved to them we got them to trust us. But here and there we would do free projects with people to get our foot in the door and then just do our best work no matter if it was paid or freed. And that is what really started to get the ball rolling and show that once we had a portfolio, then it was just like,
People came to you.
show. Yeah.
So how'd you in the beginning you just did outreach by yourself? You're like, hey, you go to XYZ business and you're like, hey, let me do a free promotion for you or let me do some videos for your restaurant or something. That's how you got your foot in the door.
Yes. Yeah. We did a decent amount of that in the very beginning.
What other struggles did you have in the beginning? You guys are very organized, like your billing, like your proposals and all that. Was it like that from the beginning?
I think that's a really good point. Is people don't realize that that's a huge part of the business that you have to build is like your contracts, your proposals, um, on top of like all the systems and processes internally to execute your services. Like those are a big portion. And making sure that our contracts kept us from getting screwed if a deal went bad was also like definitely a struggle.
So can you think any times you guys got fucked over in the beginning?
We never ever got really fucked over. But there would be times where we would do services for clients and then they would like make the deposit and then I don't know, the project would like fall through and we would already be like done with the work and have to follow up and like get the second payment. But luckily for us, our contracts are very sound now, but even in the beginning when they probably were a little bit more,
Ghetto
hazy,
style?
yeah, they still we still it worked out well. So
Okay, so you never, you never took like a really big hit from like a big project or anything like that.
no, luckily, knock on wood, but no.
Good, good. Yeah, I wish we could say the same for us, but it's different businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say too, one of the struggles with the studio as well, and something that was game changer for us was running paid ads. We have such a background in content that we were able to create some really cool ads that performed well. And it was only after a couple months of doing organic content that we launched our ads because we wanted to have like an ad budget before we launched it. And we trusted the organic content process, which did get us to have the budget to launch the ads. But the ads just supercharged our ability to get more clients.
Oh, absolutely. So also you scale because obviously from what I've seen the last few weeks that we've been working together, you guys run a legit operation at scale, always busy, always somebody at the studio. You're always busy. You work 7 days a week. Uh, what are some of the tasks that you delegated growing as a business owner, you and your partner? And then how do you find talent? How do you recruit talent? Because obviously your business is more creative. You have to have talented people. How do you find those people? Like how did you find Victoria, or how did you find
Yeah.
your other videographers or whoever is working?
Yeah. And that's something that when you first start out and you don't have the proof of concept or like any portfolio, it's really hard to get people to want to work with you. Now that we do have like a cool studio, we have all the equipment, convincing people who are really talented to work for us is a lot easier now. But in the beginning, like getting people to believe in the dream was like everything. And I think that just comes down to like showing up with a positive mindset, believing in yourself that you can create a big business that is very successful, and then painting a path for the people who you bring on that, okay, you are going to be a big part of this. So we have a big opportunity for you because as we grow, like it's not just us who's going to win, but you're on the team, like you're helping build the business. So I think just giving people a path that they can really see gets them
So you make them
motivated.
believe in the vision.
Yes,
Okay, so you paint the vision for them. You're like, hey, we're heading that way. You want to jump along?
exactly. And we only bring on people who have the same excitement that we do. And you can feel that too. Like every single person on our team really does believe in the vision. And if one person didn't, if you were in here recording a podcast and they were like checked out and like not caring about what you're talking about, like people pick up on that on your business.
Yeah, and I'll attest to that because before we found Gunther, we tried 4 other people.
Wow.
Yeah, and I could not. It just like not only the energies, but like the way they were handling things. Like
Mm,
us, we're very professional.
mhm.
We're on point. Like if we say something, if we say we're gonna be there, if we say we're gonna deliver something, we do it.
Yeah.
And then other like your competitors that we worked with, I'm like, I cannot work with these people. I'm gonna go crazy with them. So that's something that I noticed, and I was telling my other partners and business friends. I'm like, these guys are like on point with everything. They're really good with like the structure of their organization. When they say they're gonna deliver on certain time, they do it. Which I give you props for that. It's you run a very well organization, business, whatever you want to call it.
Thank you. That means the world to us. And fifth time is the charm. So here we
Yeah,
are.
fifth time, guys.
They
I
say.
lost about $10,000 just trying to find the right person. It was crazy.
And now we have a high quality podcast for all the tradespeople, which is very valuable.
Exactly. All right. So, how did you delegate a lot of
Ooh.
things to? Because I know, like us, for example, in the beginning, it was very hard to delegate, like sales, marketing, production, a lot of these things. So, what are some of the things that you had to delegate as a business owner, to grow, to focus on making those key relationships, to bring more business in, to grow your brand, and all that? What are some tasks that you delegated as Gunther, to get to the next level?
Yeah. And I think it's so different for every business owner because, like, all of us have different skill sets. Between me and my business partners, like, I'm the creative one. We have a business development partner, and then we have one who's like really marketing savvy. Um, so for me, some of the first things that I started to delegate at the studio was that outbound sales stuff. Now we have like a sales guy who comes in and takes like a lot of the tours and helps people understand what services are best for them. And then also creating content is like a very time consuming thing. So now we have like awesome producers that come in and do the operations of like producing the content because obviously as a business owner, like you have to build a business and you can't really just be stuck in the business doing the service, whether that's painting or editing or
Or
all
whatever.
those different things. Yeah.
Was it hard for you to delegate tasks as you were growing as a business owner
It
and trusting
definitely,
people?
yeah, that was definitely one of the harder things is because I'm very particular on like how I like things. So being able to trust other people was definitely like it's like a hump and you have to like really trust them to deliver the same product that you were previously delivering on your own. And you care about the business obviously so much because like it's your baby and you want other people to have the best experience with it. So I would definitely say that trust was it for everyone has their different struggles, but it was tough, but it you have to get to the next level. So
Absolutely. What are some things that you'd have done different if you could reverse time and then go back, to your, or give some advice to your younger self starting the business?
I genuinely do think that would have gotten into paid ads earlier because there's obviously all different marketing channels and we try and stay diligent on all of them. We do a lot of like cold outbound to people. We do organic content. We do paid media. We do a little bit of Google SEO stuff. So we, funnel in leads from all those different channels. But the ads for us has been huge. So I think that just implementing it earlier on in our business would
Seems like it's a struggle for a lot of business owners in the beginning, investing in marketing, like we were saying in
have.
the last episode. A lot
Don't
of,
be scared to invest more into marketing.
yeah.
Because that's what you guys said was your big turning point, right?
Yep.
When you guys
Mhm.
started investing in
Yeah. The more you put in, the more you'll get out of it. So seems like it's a pattern for all business owners.
Yeah.
It's a risk though. You're like, oh, am I gonna put X amount? Am I gonna get an ROI on it? So I think that's like the little wall that everybody needs to break through. They got to just take the leap of faith and just go for it. Don't
100%.
be scared to spend money on advertising, no matter what business you're in. And our business are completely different.
Hmm.
And you see, we had the same struggle, and it's the same thing that took the business to the next level. Investing more in marketing and paid ads.
Yeah. And one other thing that I just thought of too, in terms of figuring out what you should delegate first, is looking at what is taking the most amount of time and what is the easiest task for someone else to learn is a great starting point to figure out should I delegate this? Um, and for us, like that was editing. Editing is like it seems like a complicated skill, but in terms of production, you film 1 hour and you edit 3 to 5 hours into that 1 hour. So the editing process is way more tedious than the
The filming.
the filming.
I
So
can do the filming, and I'm not a professional, but
yeah,
editing and making it look nice, it looks like garbage if I edit it.
yeah.
So I can see that.
So for us, just a specific example, that was something that was taking up so much time for us. And it was once we delegated it, like I personally got so much time back. And that was early on, like a couple of years ago in the business that we really figured that out. So
I used to think I can do it myself.
yeah.
I used to think I can, oh my, how hard can it be? Like, I'll film my own podcast, I'll do my own social media, I'll do everything. And then also I really got into what it takes. Then I noticed, I realized what value you bring to the table as a media company.
Yeah. Yeah, because it really is just so time consuming. And I mean, like, I completely understand producing your own content as a business is very time consuming, especially if you're not outsourcing it. But it's so worth it, though. It really is. So,
Cool. I want to get into some questions. I
okay,
got a really good question here
let's go.
from my stories that I posted yesterday.
Cool.
And then one of them, I would like to get your expertise on it because a lot of people, like, they'll go on our profile and they'll be like, oh, did you buy your followers? Are you buying your likes?
Mm,
Are you buying this? And then that's from In Time Painting out in Saint Lucie, or what is it? Port
St.
Saint
Lord
Lucie.
Lucy.
Uh, so he's saying, are you using fake followers on Instagram and Facebook to give the facade of being bigger? And I'll let Gunther answer that first, and then I'll take a hit, and then Carmelo will take a hit.
yeah. And I know that you guys don't have any fake followers. So definitely do not add buying followers into your strategy. Whatever platform you're on it can really very easily tell that there's this huge influx of followers. They're randomly just searching your name up and they're following you. Um, and they will shadow ban you. Your content will not get as much organic reach ever again from buying the followers. Um, it's so much better to organically grow yourself.
Yep. I'm gonna double press on that. And I'm like, guys, never buy followers. And then you can attest to what I'm saying by checking Olympian and then going and checking the precision Instagram accounts that we're running. We're running them organically. Some of them are 2,000 followers, 1,500. We're not buying followers for them because people can tell. Like, I can go in an account and I can tell if they have fake followers, fake likes, fake everything.
Yeah.
So do not do it. Don't try and push a facade that a lot of people out there trying to like push, because you can easily tell if they're fake or not. And there's actually, what was that, the website that you sent me?
It was like it was a fake Instagram follower checkup.
Yeah, it's like an AI
Yeah.
website that like you put your Instagram handle and it can show you what percentage of fake followers you have. People can pick up on that fast, guys. So don't fake it until you make it. Just grow organically. Focus on having a local audience first. If you're in the services, a local loyal audience that's gonna pay you versus just focusing on having hundreds of thousands of followers or going viral all the time. Because if you get 10 million views on a post and all of them are like from Russia, India, all over the country, even like other states, they're not gonna hire you. What, you're gonna go paint in India? No, it doesn't matter. Like, that viral post is not gonna make you any money. That's why I'm like, focus mostly on creating good quality content for your local audience.
Yeah. There actually is an interesting way that you can buy followers, and this is the legitimate way. It's called paid advertising. So you can launch Facebook and Instagram ads, and these are followers that, yes, you're paying for the exposure to get your content in front of them, but they are organically clicking on your profile and following you because they're interested in your service.
Correct.
So it's
So
much different.
I run two kind of ads. I run direct response ads, which are like my lead ads, and I run awareness ads, which all I do is I make them land on my profile, and then that's how I buy followers, by making the local people coming on my profile and making them follow, because eventually they're gonna need me. That's how you build social equity.
Yes. And now when you're organically posting your content, they're seeing that as well. So they followed you because they were interested from originally seeing your ad, and they're not fake, they're a real person. So they are going to see your organic content too. So
Yeah, hit us up if you want to learn how to run awareness ads.
Yeah. And back on the fake follower thing, it's always a bad image for somebody to stumble on your profile. Say you have 1 million followers, but your latest post that's been up for a day, you have 3 likes, creates a bad image to your potential either client or somebody that you just met at a networking event. It doesn't create that trustworthiness in the relationship. And it
Don't be a furu.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Don't
We
be a
can
fool.
Furu, I love
Yeah.
that turn.
We
Yeah.
can we can see the furus, guys.
Yeah, or 800 likes and 200 plays on your reel.
Or
it's a bad
you
image.
get 1,500 likes and they're like all bot accounts.
Yeah. And people can tell, like all of us can tell, even just the
Don't
average
fake it until
Joe.
you make it. Make it first and then showcase.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that will wrap up our 4th episode of the Dirty Painters podcast.
Be sure to follow our business at Olympian Painting and also our personal pages, Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Karmelo, and also make sure to follow Gunther's business pages over at Modern Media GRP and MMG Studios TPA.
And guys, if you got any value from this episode, make sure you share it with a fellow tradie, fellow painter, or even a fellow agency owner, because I'm sure they can get a lot of value from Gunther and what he had to say today. And then until next time, this is Radion.
And I'm Karmelo.
And we're signing off from the Dirty Painters Podcast.